In 10 hours, St. Paul is set to begin clearing its biggest homeless encampment, part of a bigger plan to sweep all the major encampments in the city. City leaders citing public safety, but activists and residents pushing hard to stop the plan. Thanks for joining us on air and streaming. I'm Kevin Holmes. Now, with hours to go, preparations are underway. Ryan Katane heard from residents and city leaders as they look ahead at what comes next. Ryan.
Yeah, there's also a community breakfast and a protest planned for 5 o'clock tomorrow morning before city employees and outreach groups get there at 8. City leaders say transportation will be provided for people who are going to shelters. And as for people who do not want to leave, the city says enforcement will be the last resort.
With boxes, bags, and suitcases full, some people and their pets are already on their way out from Pig's Eye Park.
All these spots here used to be full of tents and occupied by people.
As they prepare for the city to begin clearing the biggest homeless encampment in St. Paul.
Hi, Natalia.
Isaac Thomas, who goes by Callie, has lived here for over a year after he says his house was condemned because it was deemed unsafe to live in.
I've been homeless since.
Tomorrow, Callie and his partner Sammy say they'll move to a nearby encampment until the city clears that one.
Because there's some of us out here that I know don't have any other place.
Tight squeezes at shelters, he says, sometimes lead to physical confrontations, and there's not enough space for their belongings.
That's really not suitable. What people need is housing, water.
Tony Carter's nonprofit provides resources like clothing and food to underserved people in the Twin Cities.
We have all this food that we had brought.
You can usually find him at Pig's Eye Park at least once a week, but tomorrow, he says, may be too traumatic to see.
Trauma to the people being forced to move. I think it's unfortunate that this is the mentality of the city.
They deserve not to be swept away.
In a packed public hearing this afternoon, people opposing the city's plan called it inhumane.
Challenges here is that we're dealing with a very short-term emergency, which is the public health and public safety problems.
The long-term crisis, City Council President Rebecca Naker says, is not enough affordable and supportive housing. But as the city works on long-term solutions, she says the goal right now is to treat every person at the encampment with respect and dignity as they figure out where to go.
And we have been assured that we will have enough spaces for everyone who wants an indoor space.
I take it day by day.
As the next day nears, questions linger about what exactly comes next.
Now, I did check in with the city and the county, and I asked City Council President Naker today about how many shelter beds are available and how many more will be added to accommodate more people. Now, I haven't been able to get a clear answer from any of them about this, only that the city, county, and their partners are working to identify available shelter and housing placement capacity to support this response. Kevin.
All right, Raya, thank you. A man faced a judge for the first time today, accused of breaking into a South Minneapolis home and trying to sexually assault a woman inside. 19-year-old Cordero Ratcliffe charged with criminal sexual conduct and burglary. According to charging documents, the victim told police she was sitting on a couch watching TV when Ratcliffe came in naked from the waist down. Charging documents say Ratcliffe admitted to using a taser on the victim and trying to sexually assault her, and he only stopped when another woman came into the room. Ratcliffe told police he didn't know the victim and had never been to the home before. Tonight, a teenager is fighting for his life after falling 20 stories in an abandoned grain elevator in Minneapolis. It happened at the old checkerboard grain elevator along Highway 55 around 8:30 last night. In an update today, police said he was part of a group of 6 people trespassing on the property, all to make an urban exploring video. Neighbors tell KARE 11 teens are breaking in nearly daily and posting videos online. They hope this tragedy puts a spotlight on how dangerous urban exploring can be.
Something terrible was going to happen. It's happened before, and it'll happen again as long as this issue continues.
Police say urban exploring has been an issue for years, but it's becoming even more popular as of late. The spokesperson says they received around 80 complaints last year, and so far this year they are receiving more than 100. Today, a Western Minnesota prison announced its plans to reopen and start housing immigrant detainees as soon as this fall. CoreCivic owns the 1,600-bed Prairie Correctional Facility in Appleton that closed in 2010, but announced a new contract with Immigration and Customs Enforcement for the next 5 years. Jennifer Hoff has been covering this since ICE first considered this idea a year ago and has reaction from people who live there.
Appleton is a small town, leaving a big mark on Sean Swenson, who's lived here most his life. Even owns several businesses, including this bar. Hopeful news, the local prison reopening is a sign business will boom once again.
I was like, great. You know, it's something new. When you bring people to town, you bring money.
The prison closed 16 years ago, but last year, Immigration and Customs Enforcement considered reopening it as a detention center, sparking some protests then.
City officials should take a few steps back.
And rallies now, as prison owner KARE Civic confirms it's contracting with the federal agency for the next 5 years and expects to start housing detainees by October.
Sadness.
Upsetting resident Teresa Quinn.
Well, I want to make sure that everyone is safe, and that includes the people who are being detained, the employees at the center, all of the people who live here in Appleton. I don't want this to hurt our community.
Quinn is concerned about inadequate medical care and unsanitary conditions, calling the Trump administration's deportation plan a cruel attack.
I think that it might bring in a lot of money, but I also know it's going to probably bring a lot of burden.
KARE Civic expects the facility to generate $75 million every year, operating despite state lawmakers banning private prisons 3 years ago. But there's no federal law against that.
Yeah, the businesses did a lot better.
Some people hopeful now. It means Appleton is here to stay.
Let's hope everything works.
KARE Civic says it expects a complete ramp-up of services here already by this coming spring, while protesters say they plan to continue rallying here every week. In Appleton, Jennifer Hoff, KARE 11 News.
We reached out to ICE for a comment on the contract, but we have never heard back. Mike Lindell says he's stepping down as MyPillow CEO to focus full-time on his gubernatorial bid. Lindell says he'll remain on the board and remain a shareholder, but will now have a minority stake in the company and turn over day-to-day leadership to the company's former president. Lindell has President Trump's endorsement for Minnesota governor. The primary, by the way, is 1 week from today. Farm Fest officially underway in Minnesota. Today, U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins was in southwest Minnesota meeting with local farmers, focusing on financial challenges Minnesota farmers are facing with high costs due to the war in Iran.
The one thing that remains constant is how input prices are killing your bottom line, how we've got to get the cost of fertilizer, the cost of equipment, the cost of labor, the cost of seed, the cost of interest rates, the cost of property. We've got to start reversing that trajectory and that trend.
Secretary Rollins also announced 2 changes the USDA rolled out. Producers now have 60 extra days to pay crop insurance premiums. They also brought back a popular crop insurance option that allows farmers to get 5% extra cash back if bad weather stops them from planting. Jalapenos are off the menu at several Chipotles in Minnesota. This after the state health department linked the peppers to a Salmonella outbreak. MDH has confirmed 110 cases in the state since mid-June. Most of those patients said they ate at Chipotle. Others said they ate at other Mexican-style quick-service restaurants. Health leaders say it's unclear yet if the outbreak is still ongoing, but Chipotle is cooperating with the investigation and tracing back where the peppers came from. The FDA is also investigating. Take a look at your screen right now. This is a new picture from the St. Paul Police Department of a man they believe damaged dozens of trees earlier this summer. Police say the image is from 5 a.m. July 5th near 4th and Minnesota streets. That's around when St. Paul Parks and Rec said 6 newly planted trees were damaged in Lower Landing Park, along with 18 more in nearby planting beds. In all, about $30,000 in damage. So if you recognize this man, take another good look. St. Paul investigators want to hear from you. Quite a comfortable day out there today. Hopefully we have more of the same. Control C, Control V.
Hey, don't say that. I need a job. Don't be doing that. Get pushed down to the bottom of the A block when it's good. Hey, man, the weather's good. Hey, I'm okay with it. It's chill. It's great. It's going to be a perfect night. And tomorrow looks perfect. We'll have our time for some crazy weather. We live in Minnesota, so we enjoy the quiet days. Tonight, this is today. You look back at the past 12 hours, 77, 5 p.m. Now, as we go to 10, it's 66. So the temperature's fallen 11 degrees. And it doesn't actually do that typically in the summer because usually you have humidity, which holds the temperature higher. Oh, no humidity tonight. Say goodbye to the temperature. It's falling. Open up the windows. It is fantastic out here. It's not the warmest summer night, but it is free money. That's what I like. 59 to 80 tomorrow. Winds light out of the west-southwest at only 5 miles per hour. It smells like a boating day to me. Hopefully I can, I probably won't hook into that next muskie, but I'll go crappie fishing. Hope to see you out there. It's going to be fantastic. Let's talk about the next chance for rain in your forecast.